Good.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'll tell you what, I had my haircut, and I'll tell you what, it was really down to my shoulder length, and I thought, oh no, please, hairdresser, come. Anyways, last week she came, done all my hair, and I thought, where's it gone? And it was like a shaggy dog just gone out the door. It was really, really bad. And it was really bad, my hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got Kerry here, and she's from Pet Bereavement, and we're talking about bereavement. I know it's really sad news, but Kerry, thank you for coming back on again.
You're welcome. Thank you for
Can you
having me.
can you tell me what made you first start going into pet bereavement? Because a lot of people were kind of like wants to know why did you do that?
Okay. So I got into it mainly because when I was 18, I started work experience at a local veterinary practice, and I saw my very first euthanasia, and I had no idea what happened or what to expect, and I was just absolutely traumatized. I was absolutely hysterical. I just felt really bad for the owners that they'd lost their dog, and I just felt that if I felt that bad and it wasn't even my pet, then how on earth did the owners feel, when they lost their companions? So I wanted to do more to help because I've always been that sort of person that wants to help people. And I was always like the one that if someone's sad, try and cheer them up and, you know, just try and just be nice and just help people out. So I decided to train in pet bereavement and became a pet bereavement counsellor. And I've been, it'll be 20 years this June since I qualified.
20 years, God.
Yeah.
And over in 20 years, um, you must have seen you must have seen some things.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you ever dealt with? I know it's confidential, and
Yeah. Um, I think the worst that I won't forget, and it was a few years, it was a really good few years ago now, was it was a cat that had been brought in that this gentleman had unfortunately knocked down, and he realised he'd knocked this cat over animal hospital that I worked at, and yeah, this cat was unfortunately like severely injured. There was nothing the vet could do apart from you know euthanasia, which he set out to do pretty much straight away once he realised the severity of its injuries. And I remember seeing this gentleman in the waiting room, absolutely hysterical, sobbing because he'd run over this poor little cat, and obviously it was an accident. And then we rang the owners because the cat was chipped, and we were talking to the owners, and the gentleman said, "I want to speak to them." And I was like, "I don't know if that's a good idea," but the owner's like, "Well, yeah, we'll talk to him. It's fine." So anyway, he was telling him like, he was just like really sad and just saying like, "I'm so sorry." And you could hear the owners on the other end saying, "It's okay, it was an accident, we understand." And I think that's what hurt, that's what made me more sad, was I think if they'd have been angry or if he'd have been any other way, I think I would have, I don't know, I think it was just because everyone was so understanding and this gentleman was so upset. I think I just found it really hard to stand there with it and watch without getting a bit teary myself. But that was when I was working back in veterinary practice. But I mean, over the years, like of pet bereavement counselling, some of the stories, every story that a client tells me, I find quite hard to hear because they're literally telling me how they lost their companion. But I think it's the circumstances especially when it's like a tragic accident and nobody could have foreseen it or done anything to prevent it. I think they're the hardest ones to cope with because there's nothing you can do like to make it better. Well, there's nothing you can do to make it better anyway. But it's it's one of those things. It's very hard to know what to say. But yeah, they're probably the hardest.
Yeah, I remember when I used to do nursing years ago, and it was an 80-year-old woman. She had a dog for around about 23 years or something like that,
Mm.
and golden shepherd, and it died, and she was kind of like trying to breathe her in the nose and breathe in
Oh,
her, getting her mouth open, and she was really
yeah,
desperate.
yeah,
She was crying and people don't realize that you know it's really tough sometimes because you might be on your own, and the only person you got is your pet, and when that's gone, you ain't got nobody.
yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
what do you do? I'm sorry, but I won't be. I wouldn't like to be what you do because I'm so I only can watch a film but for 2 minutes like a sad film, and I'll start
Mm.
crying.
Yeah, same.
So, but what would you do? What do you say to people? Because you must have you know a kind of really really soft heart to kind of
Mm.
like do this as a job.
Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm the same. Like I cry at films or like even reading poems in birthday cards. Do you know what I mean? If it's a really nice poem, I start getting all teary. I am a really emotional person, but I think that's probably why I'm able to do what I do in some way because the way I see it is that you know um, as hard as it is for me to hear someone tell me about how they lost their companion, the way I see it is this person has experienced this loss. They've gone through this loss. They are living with this loss, and they will live with it forever. They'll learn to cope with it, but it never really goes. So I just think, well, the least I can do is listen to them and support them and try and understand where they're coming from, and give some support while they're going through this. And I mean, I think I put on like a professional mask almost, and I go into like professional mode, so it doesn't affect me at the time. I mean, you should see me when I'm reading through the questionnaire that I send out. I send out a questionnaire before a
Hmm.
consult, so I know what the backstory and know what the client's, approaching me for, and it gives me a chance to develop a plan of action for them. And I'll be reading through those and the story of how they lost their companion and why they're seeking help. And I'll be, sometimes I'll be crying while I'm reading it, thinking, you poor person, like this is just horrendous. And then when I'm in the actual consult, I wouldn't say I was like stone cold or my emotions are turned off, but I'm the support that person needs in that moment, because the last thing they need is their counsellor, getting just as upset as they are, and not being able to support them. Doesn't mean I don't have a good cry after though.
Hmm.
Sometimes, but I'm only human, and like I said, I'm a very empathetic person, very,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But I think that's why I'm able to do what I do.
And you do a really good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We got a message here. Hi, Kerry. Just left. Sorry, just lost my cat, Biggles. And what is the procedure if I want to bury it?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm really sorry that you've lost Biggles. Did you say?
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I'm really sorry that um, burial is a tricky one. Really, I think ideally the land that you're planning to bury them should be obviously your own private land. I think there are certain rules. If you were living in, say, rented accommodation, I don't. You'd be best checking with your landlord about
Yeah,
whether you'd
yeah.
be allowed to do that. If there's any chance of you moving, I know some pet crematoriums will offer an exhumation service, but um, the actual burial itself, um, it's it's hard work because you do have to like dig down at least 2 or 3 feet, if not a little bit more if you can, and then ideally place some heavy stones on top of your companion's body just to prevent possible exhumation from wild animals. It sounds awful to say, but it's the reality, and I'd much rather say that than have someone not bury their pet deep enough and then find that something has unearthed them. Obviously, if you're going to bury them, make sure it's not near any natural water sources, where obviously the decomposition of the body can affect water sources. I think personally, I mean, you can even go down the route of having your companion cremated and then burying the ashes, which may be a little bit a bit more, I don't know, a bit easier to do. But I understand wanting to bury them as they are. We did that with my grandma's old cat. We buried her under a little apple tree in the back garden. Yeah, if you're going to do that, you could maybe, I say, go through the cremation route and then bury the ashes, or you could even get, if you've got like a large ornamental plant pot, placed your companion in that, and then placed like a favourite plant on top. There is a company, and I can't remember the name at the moment, who actually do it's a different type of soil. So when you want to bury your pet or the ashes, because of the changes in acidity, I think it can influence whether like plants are able to grow successfully on that area or not. And they actually do a different mix of soil so that you're able to do that and plant plants. I just can't recall the name, but
No, don't worry, don't worry.
yeah. But yeah, I hope that helps. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. I hope that helps. Yeah. And somebody else here, Rachel wants to know. Hiya, Rachel. Thank you for listening. Um, she said, I just lost my dog. It's only 2 years old.
Oh,
Went in front of a car only yesterday.
oh
Really
gosh.
upset.
Yeah,
I contacted the local cemetery
yeah,
because I thought there would be a pet um, place here, but they said no.
yeah.
What can I do?
Okay, so a lot of human cemeteries won't offer a pet cemetery option, but it depends which area of the UK you're from. If you look under I think it's the Association of Pet Crematoria online, you should find a list of local pet crematoria. I know, like down south, there's Dignity Pet Crematorium. They're in Winchfield, I think it is, in Hook, like Winchester way.
Winchester. Yeah.
Up north, there's Legacy Pets in Bury. There's Rossendale Pet Crematorium. Some other companies, there's like, was it CPC? If you Google pet crematoriums, it should come up with an extensive list of pet crematoria up and down the country. And I don't know about others, but I know that Dignity do offer human and animal burial plots together. So you can put your name down for a plot and actually be interred next to or with your companion's remains. So that may be
Mm,
worth looking into.
yeah, that does. Yeah.
But no, I don't think every pet crematorium offers that. But I think it is becoming more popular because it is something that people want to do, understandably. So, but I'm
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
sorry for your loss, though. That's really tragic. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. You might think this is funny, Steve, but I have got. Sorry about this.
Right?
I have, you might think this is funny, Steve, but I've got um, three goldfish,
Mm.
and all of them are died after the dog pushed the actual ball, and it went all over the place.
Oh,
All the fish just died.
yeah.
All the fish just died. But my youngest son, who is 6,
Mm.
loves those fish. I cannot. I'm having problems with him. What can I do?
Okay. It's difficult. I mean, the thing is, I mean, fish. It doesn't matter what species you lose or how big or how small. If you develop a bond with them and you love them, then their loss obviously matters. And I mean, we've had fish in the past and we've lost them, and it's devastating because you get attached to them. I mean, I know some people say, well, like they're just fish, but they do have their own little personalities, and they're fun to watch, and you do develop a
Mm.
bond with them. And when it's a tragic accident and loss, so it's a lot to deal with, especially for a young child. I think if you haven't done already, I don't know how long ago since you lost them, but I know you can actually buy fish-shaped coffins. And
What?
you can buy little plastic fish-shaped coffins, and burial pods, and you can buy. I think they're from e-coffins. I think they're called. They do like miniature little cardboard coffins. And the point I'm trying to make though is that if you haven't already buried them, you could maybe try those options. Or if you have already disposed of them, as I said, disposed, I mean, buried them or
Yeah.
sent them
Put
for
some.
cremation.
Yeah.
What you could do is, if your child wanted to, is ask them to write a letter to them, or paint a picture that you can put up, or even planting a plant in the garden that means something.
Yeah.
Um, or when I lost my fish, I kept, this might sound daft, but I kept his jug that we used to change his water with, and I kept some of the gravel out of his aquarium in the bottom of it. And one of my favourite little ornaments from the tank is in there. And so it's up on my bookshelf as my little memorial to Dan TDM, the goldfish. So, it's about finding little ways to um, help your child process the loss.
Mm.
So
See,
even, yeah.
the
Hmm?
trouble is, also, people might, probably be laughing about things like this,
Mm,
but to other people, it's serious because,
it is, yeah.
for pets, when you
Yeah,
lose your pet,
yeah,
it's really bad, because,
it is.
you've had them for a long time, or, you've
Yeah,
called them to them and everything, and,
exactly.
you
This
know,
is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I don't believe anyone has the right to tell someone what is or isn't worthy of grief over. It could be a stick insect. It doesn't matter. It could be an ant farm or a worm farm. If you've developed a bond with them and you love them and you look after them, and their loss of their presence hurts you and upsets you and disrupts your day, then it's important and it's worthy of support.
mm, mm. Um, where's it to? Oh, here you go. Cassie wants to know. She just lost a dog,
Okay.
and I took her to the vets. That's COVID. Took her to the dogs. When you hand the dog over when it's died, what's the
Hmm.
procedure? Does it get burnt?
So usually they will get sent to the local pet crematoria. Some veterinary practices are actually attached to a pet crematoria, so there's no sort of delay in the process, or minimal delay. Um, yeah, I mean, the harsh reality of it is that cremation is subjecting the body to extremely high temperatures, and then well, they're incinerated, I suppose, is
Mm,
the
yeah,
best way of explaining it. And then you're left with what they call cremains, which are like the powdered like bone fragments.
yeah,
Which
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I went to Dignity Pet Crematorium down south. Actually, was shown around by Kevin Spurgeon, who runs Dignity. I was shown around the crematorium and behind the scenes, and I actually saw a cremation taking place, and the before and the after. And it's, for me, like, as a bereavement professional, I found it quite interesting, and I think it was important to witness, because from a client point of view, I had no idea what happened. But I can assure you that every companion is treated with so much respect and dignity. And the whole process, it sounds, when you say it out loud, it sounds a bit macabre and a bit morbid, but when you actually witness it or you look into it yourself, it's actually quite, I don't know, it's not nice obviously because of what happens, but it's not quite as scary as and daunting as you may think. It's, yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard though, isn't it? It's really tough.
It is horrible, especially when you're thinking that's your pet going through that. But honestly, in the crematorium that you go to, sometimes they do what they call attended cremations. Not sure whether they still do them with COVID, but attended cremations is where you see your pet beforehand, and then you can wait and collect the ashes the same day. But you would need to speak to your local pet crematory about how they arrange that. But that is an option. So then you're not having to wait for the vets to get the cremains back and then collect them from the vets.
Brilliant. Kerry, as always, I love having you on.
Thank you.
We always get a response when you're on. You've
Oh,
been with us. You've been with us now for a while now, haven't you?
yeah. I forgot I was doing tonight. I got you text and I was like, oh yeah. No, I really enjoy it. Thank you so much for letting me come on again. I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah. We've got the funding now, so we're going for around about another 3 years. So I'm glad
Hmm.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but as always, thank you so much because I like to get different people on,
yeah.
and a lot of people is tuning in, and
Thank you.
they love having you on.
Oh,
Um,
that's lovely.
this one person wants to ask you a question before you
Hmm.
go.
Okay.
Angela wants to know if I want to get death insurance for my pet, can I?
Death insurance. Is that to cover cost of like cremation and burial, that sort of
Yes,
thing?
yeah, for my pet, yeah, for
Oh,
a pet.
oh, right, okay. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, it's been a while since I've worked in veterinary practice. I didn't actually know that this was an option. I'm glad it is, but I didn't realise it was an option. I think if you're in a position to do so, I strongly believe in pet insurance. Full stop. So I believe that if there is insurance to help you pay towards cremation, then go for it, because so many clients in the past have, when they've lost a companion, they want the best package out there. They want the everything that they can, the most ornate urn, casket, or what have you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, but obviously it costs a lot of
Oh,
money.
it does
So
for that, yeah.
it really does. And I've heard clients say, like, look, we had to go for like literally a certificate of cremation because we couldn't afford the other options. And I just felt that it was such a shame that they couldn't have the tribute or memorial that they wanted, but just because of, well, not just because of, but due to lack of funding. So I think if there's the option to do that, and it will enable you to choose the option you want without having to worry and without having to, um, you know, um, I can't think of the word, fibro fog, but without having to choose something else that you don't really want, but it's the best you can do, then go for it. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Kerry. As
All
always,
right.
there you go. Please contact Kerry. And, pet bereavement, well, to me, she must have a heart because I won't do it because I'm a right old softie. But there you go. And please contact her if you need any information or some advice or anything. If Kerry don't
Mhm.
know, she'll probably pass on to people who do.
I will.
Thank you very much, Kerry. Thank
You're
you and see you
welcome.
next time. Bye bye.
See you. Bye.